Hello again, everybody. This is Rockletrickj18 coming to you from the launching pad. And today I'm going to talk to you about two of the R300 series. These happen to be premiums. Not all of the 300 series are premiums, but a fair number of them are. Some of them are card sets, and some of them are uh, oddball card sets, I guess, for lack of a better term. So this is going to be a discussion about recent pickups of R313 National Chicle Fine Pen Premiums and R314 Goudey Premium Wide Pen cards. So they're all, uh, roughly the same size, and let's see here. So, and that's approximately uh, approximately 5.5 inches by 3.25 inches. Again, those are approximate sizes. So these were not cards that were distributed themselves in packs or in something else, but they were to be used by the store owners to provide, uh, you know, a premium for something else. In other words, advertising premiums or things that are given away by the advertiser, and in connection with some other product or service. That's what the term means. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're all distributed that way, but some of these apparently were. So let's see. What else do I need to tell you about these? These are large format. Obviously, you know the size. So they are all black and whites. Um, and there are some of these premiums in other sets that are in tinted colors. There's a set called the Pastels, that's the R312s. And they're more of a, you know, not quite square, but closer to square than these cards will be when we look at them. And I don't know. I think that the fact that they're black and white cards, some of them are portraits, some of them are action shots, some of them are multiplayer shots, and there's also let's see. I don't know. Maybe that's enough information for the time being. And I have a bunch of these cards that I have accumulated over the course of the last month or so, and so I'm just going to dive in, or we'll be here all day. Uh, so the first ones I'm going to show you are going to be the fine pens, and they are so named because the printing, which is in script form in most cases, with these fine pens are, in a font that's narrower or finer than the so-called wide pens. So this one has a picture of Doug Camilli with the Phillies, and he's diving to tag out um, this player named Jurgis. I think that's how his name is pronounced, and the umpire is calling Jurgis out. So hence the label is Camilli catches Jurgis off first. Now the next card is kind of an action photo of Bruce Campbell. And this is one that we're going to say to Mookie Chilson. Please note the pinhole. Some of these have pinholes and some of them don't, and I'll try to remember. So Bruce Campbell was with the Detroit Tigers. Here's another pinhole card of Wally Moses with the Philadelphia Athletics. And he was traded to the White Sox, and so he was pictured in an A's uniform, but the writing on the back of the card indicates that he had been traded to the White Sox. He was a longtime coach, Wally Moses. And the fourth one is Detroit Tigers Bill, and I'm going to say Rogel. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I think that's how you pronounce it. And he's got a Detroit cap on it. He was traded to the Cubs. Next is Ethan Allen, not of the Green Mountain Boys, but Ethan Allen, the baseball player, and he's there with his son. So must be at spring training, I would guess, but that's just a guess on my part. You can see on the back, these are all blank back cards, but often there's writing on the back of them. A lot of times they were glued into albums, very thin paper stock, so they are fragile, and you've got to put them in some kind of protective top loader or something like that. And these will all eventually also get the polypro, or whatever the plastic is, the sheets, soft covers, and then inside the cover. A lot of these have, surface wrinkles, and if you can see those there. This is Wally Berger with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Next is Phil Cavaretta. Excuse me. Not a pinhole card. And you can tell that these are R314-1s or 0.1 because it says down at the bottom litho in USA. Whenever it has that, it's a first series card. There were second series cards that were more or less exactly the same, except they don't have this litho in USA on them. Um, so the then series 4 has uh, a kind of a brownish yellow tint to them. And series 5 are all Canadian players, so and the series 4s, they're or series 3s rather, are very similar to the series 1 and 2. So the next card is Hall of Famer Rick Farrell with the Boston Red Sox. Obviously, Rick was a catcher, and his brother Wes Farrell was also a catcher. And by the way, these do have pinholes on them, but they're at the corners. So next is Charlie Gelbert. He's, some of these, especially the portraits, are, the players are looking right into the camera. It gives you a view that you're not used to getting because you feel like they're looking right at you. And here's Raleigh Hemsley, a catcher with St. Louis, and I believe these are the St. Louis Browns. And mentions that he also played with the Indians and the Cincinnati Reds. Here's one that got, I'll show you some, but it got almost torn in half, or not in half, in two pieces in transit, when it was in transit to me. And I'll just show you real quick. Here is the card, the safety, what was supposed to protect them, but it really got mangled by the Postal Service. Here's, here's almost completely broken. Here's another piece. This was a treat getting this out without completely tearing the card in half. And then the envelope that it was mailed in it's like it was, crunched up like this somehow. So I don't know how that happened, but something that happened automatically in sorting these. But the seller refunded my money, and I didn't want the card back, so I just put it in a sleeve, and then inside the top loader, and it looks like a bad crease and a smudge up here, but actually it's all right. I don't mind it. This is Lynn Larry, and he is also with St. Louis, and I'm thinking that he is also with the Browns. Here's Gene Moore, and Dean's Cards does this with the stickers. They make an attempt to grade them. This one was graded authentic because it was altered. Obviously, you can see that edges were trimmed off. And so Dean's folks tell you this is a 1936 Goudey wide pen Type 1. And of course, you have to take their word for it, because it would, if it was a Type 1 down here in the border, which is gone now, it would say litho in USA. There's another one of these, one of the fine pens that has Gene Moore being carried off the field on a stretcher with concerned ball players and umpires surrounding him. So I don't know what happened there, but it'll be some other research I'll have to do to hopefully figure that out. Here's Tommy Padden, obviously with the Pirates. And he's got on the back, it says Newark Bears minor league team. Newark Bears. Here's Rip Radcliffe, and he has a White Sox jersey on. So he also played for the St. Louis Browns and the Detroit Tigers. Here's Lou Riggs in what must be a posed shot with him running towards the bag to field presumably a pop-up, since he's looking up in the air. And you can see this is a stain that goes all the way through. Another pinhole there. And this is New York Yankees pitcher Vito Tamulus, and I think this is almost a haunting picture. Again, looking straight into the camera, and it just gives you a kind of an eerie feeling. Kind of has a melancholy look on his face. Earlier in another video, I showed you this card of Paul Wainer, and in a minute I'm going to show you Lloyd Wainer, and it's been trimmed also, but the main reason that I'm pretty sure of it is because it was almost miscut, and the litho in USA is missing. But I want you to look at these two photographs and see if you think that doesn't look like this, almost like the same photograph. I mean, Lloyd Wainer and Paul Wainer certainly look more than enough alike to be brothers. They almost look like twins. But you know this the story. They got their nicknames, Big Poison and Little Poison, and some people thought that meant that were poison to pitchers. But somebody else said that they thought they got their name from one of the Brooklyn players who mispronounced person as poison. I don't know whether that's true or not. You don't know whether either one of those stories is true, but this is the kind of stuff baseball players do, so it could be true. But they look so much alike, and there are some subtle differences in these. to the point where the background is almost identical. I mean, Paul probably got his picture taken, and then Lloyd got his picture taken. But they are not the same picture, and you can tell that because Lloyd has a little catch in his collar, whereas Paul does not. Um, there, this right here is glare from the baggie inside the card protector. Um, and if you look at the shadow cutting across their brow there, and on back to the ear, you can tell that they're different. Um, Lloyd seems to have a slightly more elongated face. It could be a product of the shadows, but I think that's probably just the way that his face was. And of course, Paul was big poison, and he ended up with over 3,000 hits. So he was one of the the Pirates had several 3,000 hit players, including Honus Wagner, including Roberto Clemente. So they got more than their share of hitters, and Lloyd Wayner had over 2,700 hits. Both of them are in the Hall of Fame. And I just thought it was interesting to look at these two guys side by side in portrait format. We don't get a chance to see those very often, and of course they're not looking directly into the camera, which is probably pretty good because from that angle, probably half of their face would have been in the shadow, a third of it anyway. So that's what I have to show you today, and let's go back to the main view, and we'll wrap up. So this, I wanted to see how many of these cards I had, so I counted them, and it turns out that I have 21 R313s. That's the National Chicle Premium, and they were issued obviously by the National Chicle Company. And I have about half as many of these as I do of the R314s. I have a total of 44 of those, 43 from the first series, and then I have one from the fourth series. Those are the ones that are slightly yellowish, brownish tint to them. Not sepia tone, but just an overall cast to them. So that's what I have for you, and thanks for your attention, and we'll be back with another video in the near future, I hope, because we got back from the National yesterday. I'll just tell you this: the National was bigger. I don't know if it was better. In some respects, it was not better. The National people who sponsor the National, who promote the National, decided that they would not allow any gathering in the hotels that was not sanctioned by the National. They kind of forgot to tell the people who were participating in the National as consumers, because the traders were all over the place trading cards, mostly younger players, which is not to denigrate younger players, but they were the ones doing it really. And they even caused us to be evicted from our YouTube gathering in the hotel, which I did go to, but when we got kicked out, I didn't stick around because my wife was with me, and she was going to go to the YouTube gathering with me. But since we got booted out, and it looked like maybe we didn't have any idea what was going to happen later on. Actually, did find a place outdoors to have it, and had a great time, I'm told. But unfortunately, a lot of the people who were going to come didn't come because got they were early victims from the boot. And my wife and I had walked back to our hotel, which is only about 3/4 of a mile, so uh, it wasn't a big burden. But I missed the YouTube gathering, and of course that's being one of the highlights of the event. I felt pretty bad about that. And I'll have more to say about the national when I have my video showing you what I got at the national, which I'm really over the moon about. So, but none of these cards are from the national. So that's what I have to show you, and hope you have a great day. And this is Rockletrickj18, wishing that all your collecting dreams come true.